right, so we are simplifying each expression. In this unit, we're talking about how to factor. In order to factor, you have to understand your GCF. Who knows what GCF stands for? Greatest common factor.
Greatest common factor.
All right, we'll get there in a second, but first let's simplify this. What we want to do when we simplify is we want to split up everything, like numbers and variables, okay? Each variable, if it's a different letter, it's a different component, okay? So I have 8 and 12. Those are my numbers. If I reduce 8 and 12, what do I get? You can use your calculator. 8 divided by 12. Math, enter.
So 2 over 3.
So 2 over 3. Okay, those are my numbers. Simplify. Next line of business, I have x to the 4th divided by x. So, x to the 4th divided by x, you can do this 2 ways. If you think about it, x to the 4th means I have 4 x's and I have 1 x. If I simplify that, what's left over? X to the 3rd, right? But your exponent rules that you learned in Algebra 1 tell you if you have the same base, then you subtract. So 4 minus 1 is 3. Which one is bigger? The 4 or the 1? 4, so it would stay on top, so that's like x to the 3rd over 1. But that's not too important right now, we'll get to that. So in this case, I have x to the 3rd. Does it go on the top or the bottom? The top, because my 4 is bigger. So x to the 3rd. Then I have y squared and y squared. What is y squared divided by y squared? Y? Well, let's think. What's 5 divided by 5? 1. So if I have y squared divided by itself, it is, huh? Why would it just be y? If this is 5 divided by 5, it's just 1. It's divided by itself. What's y squared divided by y squared? Oh, they're thinking way too hard. Anything divided by itself is going to be what? 1. So y squared divided by y squared is 1. Do I have to write that 1? No, it's understood. If you want to put times 1, go for it. But I typically won't do that, so don't get confused. What I would do is I would just cancel them out because it's 1. Okay? That confuses me. Alright, last, I have z to the 6th over z to the 8th. So z6 over z8. I need to subtract, and I go big to little. So what's 8 minus 6?
2.
2. My z goes on the top or the bottom? On the bottom. So z to the 2nd, because this 8 is bigger than 6. We always subtract bigger to smaller. So this is my answer. So far, so good? Let's look at number 2. I don't like how number 2 is set up. Let's rewrite it. I'm going to make this familiar to me, which is negative 9y squared plus 27y divided by negative 3y. All I did was just rewrite it. Gabe, you with me? You can write it that way, or my first class liked this better, of just splitting it up. Divided by negative 3y plus 27y divided by negative 3y. So all we did was we just split up the negative 3y with each piece. You can do whatever one makes sense to you. looking at the first one, I'm going to look at this part right here. What is negative 9 divided by negative 3?
3.
Positive 3, so that's gone. Y squared divided by y? Just 1y, right? Now I have the blue part. What's 27 divided by negative 3? Negative 9. And what's y divided by y? 1, so that just cancels out, right? This is my answer. If you did the other way, it would be the same thing. It's just you would have, figure out how to stand. You would have 3y. And then if you want to put a plus there, you can, but it's going to be negative 9, which is the same thing as 3y minus 9. Take the sign before it. So far, so good? All right. Now we have 12, a to the 4th, b to the 2nd, c cubed minus 24, a squared, c to the 4th, plus c, a to the 7th, b to the 5th, c to the 8th. All of that is going to be divided by negative 6a squared, c cubed. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and rewrite what is being divided by, just so I can break it up into 3 different sections. Okay? They're all going to be divided. It's just instead of me drawing like this one, then that one, then the last one, I'm just going to break them up into 3 different pieces. So do you see how it's basically 1, 2, 3 things that we're going to be doing? All right. Let's start with the first one here. We always look at our numbers first. What is 12 divided by negative 6? Negative 2. Right? And then I have, what's a to the 4th divided by a squared? It is a squared. B squared, is that matched up with anything? No, we can just write b squared, it doesn't go anywhere. And then I have c cubed divided by c cubed. C1?
No.
Just 1. We don't have to write that one. So those basically just cancel out. So that's for the first one. For my middle one, I have negative 24 divided by negative 6. What do we get? Positive 4. The numbers are done. A squared divided by a squared. Be careful because you're thinking that a squared is the same thing as, so if we divide this, what do we get? Well, you get, because if we have to subtract this, 2 minus 2, you get 0. Here you get a to the 1st, right? Anything to the power of 0 is really 1. Those are not the same things. Okay? So whenever you see something that's the same exact thing, just cross it out. Just cancel it out. So my a's are gone. Now, c to the 4th over c to the 3rd is what, Caleb? C to the, wait, what do you say? C to the 1st. You can write the 1 if you want to. If not, we know. Okay. My green, I have 6 divided by negative 6. Negative 1. A to the 7th divided by a to the second, which is a to the fifth. We just subtracted our exponents. There's nothing with b, so what do I do?
Bring it down.
Just bring it down. And then we have c to the eighth and c to the third. C to the fifth. That is my answer. So it looks scary at first, Lorena, but once we actually broke it down piece by piece, it's not that bad. Is there a last one?
Just those three.
Oh, okay. All right, so greatest common factor. Factoring is the opposite of distributing. Is the opposite of distributing. So you're basically going to be like reversing everything. So we know that GCF stands for
Greatest common factor.
greatest common factor. All right, so what the greatest common factor tells us is that you're looking for the highest number that can be evenly divided. So the highest number that can be evenly divided.
I say distributed.
Yeah. Into two or more numbers. So all that means is we're looking for the highest number that can go into all the numbers that we're looking for. Highest number that can be evenly divided into two or more numbers. Now I'm going to show you the long way to do this first, then I'll show you the shortcut. Okay, we can't show you the shortcut first because then you'll never know what's going on. Alright, GCF. I have 12 and I have 30. So if I start, I'm going to name off all the factors of 12. I like to go in order. Like 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and what? 3 and 4. Once I get to the part of repeating, I stop. So next would be 6. Another would be 4. Alright, for 30, I have 1 and 30. What else?
3,
Let's go in order. What's 2?
15.
2 and 15. Does 4 work?
No, I don't think so.
Nope. 5?
5 and 6.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Yep. Alright, so based on these two numbers, my GCF is going to be what? What's my greatest common factor? 6. 6 is the largest that are in both sets of numbers. So the GCF of 12 and 30 is 6. Alright, what if we have 3 numbers? We have 8, 24, and 36. Lorena, what are the factors of 8?
2 times 4 equals 8.
So 1 and 8, and 2 and 4. Right?
Yep.
Caleb, what about 24?
1.
2 and 2 and 12. 3 and 8. 4 work.
Yes.
4 and 6. That's it, right? Alright, Daniel, 36. Let's start with 1. 1 and 36. 2 and what? Do 36 divided by 2.
Oh,
Huh?
no, wait. You said 36 divided by 2.
Yep.
Easy.
18. Alright, let's try 3. 36 divided by 3.
12.
12. 36 divided by 4. Does that work?
9.
4 and 9.
Oh, 4 and 9. Yep. 5 does not work. 6 works, right?
Yeah, 6.
6 and 6. Alright, so my greatest common factor is what?
4.
6? Wait, no.
4.
4. 4 is my biggest number.
Oh, it doesn't have to be like all in the same column.
No, because
Okay.
the columns don't really matter. We're trying to find the largest in each category. So it's best, I guess, to start with your smallest number and then see, like, okay, what's the highest if you have it each one. So the GCF of 8, 24, and 36 is 4. Yes.
What if there's a number, like, with 3 being like 8, 16, and like 21? Would there be an answer to that?
Like
Or
8,
no
16,
solution?
21, like if there is no GCF?
Yeah, would you just write no solution?
Some good questions. We're gonna get there. You're on the right track though. It's just a different word. Alright, now I have 4x cubed, 6x squared. So we already said the factors of 4 are, oh we didn't say. 1 and 4,
2 and 2.
2 and 2. And then I have 3 x's. I'm just going to make those x's right there. This x to the third. My factors of 6, I have 1 and 6,
2 and 3.
2 and 3, and how many x's do I have? 2. So looking at my numbers first, what's my GCF of just the numbers?
2.
2. What's my GCF of my x's?
2.
2. I can only pull out 2 in each. So my answer is 2x squared is my GCF. If I can pull out a 2, I can pull out an x squared. Alright, all good on this? Alright, it's about to get real. This is your shortcut. Hate me later. Let's say that we're going to pick out the GCF of 8 and 12. What we're going to do, you hit math. Go over the number. Lorraine, are you with me? Sorry, I keep getting breaking news. I get nervous. Alright, then we're going to go down to GCD. So you can hit number 9. GCD is the same as GCF. And then we're going to type in 8 and 12. So we would have 8, comma, 12. Hit enter. It gives you your GCF. Okay, so that could save you a ton of time when you're looking for your GCF. If you have three numbers like we just had, I go to math, number 9. Was it like 8, 24, 36?
Yeah.
Alright, so I would just type in 2 at a time. Let's do 8, comma 24, get an answer. And then I could do 24 and 36. Get an answer. And then let's do it again for 8 and 36. What is my lowest number there? 4. I took all three numbers and I paired them with each other. All I didn't do was 8 and 24. I guess we could do that too. 8, comma 24. Oh wait, I did do that. I did them all then, right? Yeah. Alright, so my lowest number here is 4. So if you have three numbers, you take all three of them, just do 2 at a time. You pick out the lowest one. That's your answer. Okay? We'll get more practice with that as we go on. Alright, finding GCF of a polynomial. When we find the GCF of a polynomial, it's like undoing the distributive property. It's like undoing the distributive property. There are three things that we look for when we're looking for the GCF. First things first. Is there a negative in front? Is there a negative in front? Because if so, make a little asterisk over here. You must take it out. This is very important. Non-debatable. So you must take it out if you have a negative out front. The other two are fairly easy. We look for GCF. How does GCF look for? Yeah. So we look for the GCF in your numbers, in your GCF, and your variables. So GCF in numbers, GCF in variables. All right, let's look at number 4. 2x squared plus 4x minus 8. I want you to put 3 lines underneath it. Let's look at our numbers first. Do I have a common or GCF with my numbers? 2, 4, and 8. What's the highest number that goes into each of them? 2. So let's bring down our 2. What about my variables? I have x squared, x, and nothing. Do I have a GCF in the variables? No. Once you know your GCF, we bring it to the outside. And just like we did earlier, we're going to divide. So 2x squared divided by 2 leaves us with what? 1? That cancels out, so I just have what? X squared. Alright. 4 divided by 2 is what? 2, and my x stays there. And then negative 8 divided by 2? Negative 4. And that's your answer. That's how we take out the GCF. Smells good.
I can say you some
Really? What is it?
It's very cheap.
Sure. So nice.
Well, that's really nice of her.
Is she Greek? No, I don't think so. All right.
We don't distribute anything?
Nope. Well, you know what? If you were to distribute, that's the point. It takes you right back to where you started. Right? 2x squared plus 4x minus 8, which is where we started.
That could be a way to check it.
Yep, correct way to check your answer. So basically, it's just undoing the distributive property. Now, eventually, aka next class, we're going to go over how to factor what's in the parentheses, but we're not doing that yet. We're just learning how to do this. All right, number 5. GCF of my numbers, I have -3, 6, and then I guess a 1. What's my GCF? Do I have one of my numbers? But remember I said if you are leading with a negative, that negative has to come out, right? So let's go ahead and put our negative down. You have to bring that negative out only if it begins with a negative. If there's a negative like on 8, that doesn't matter. All right, so now look at my variables. X cubed, x to the second, and x. X. We basically just take the smallest exponent. And in that case, the exponent is 1. So my GCF is negative x. Once you have that, you bring it to the outside. Now let's divide. -3 divided by -1 is basically +3. X cubed divided by x.
X squared.
Yeah, x cubed divided by x leaves us with just x squared. You guys finish this. My board is off. So I'm gonna fix it. Okay, so +6 divided by -1.
-6.
So -6, and then x squared divided by x. We're done with that. We're done with that. So typically we have -x divided by -x. So we could just cross that out typically. But just so we don't confuse ourselves, can I make this +1?
No.
Why not? Because what? Right, but you know how we say anything divided by itself is 1? So I just put the 1 there. Because it's at the very end. So if I were to distribute, that -x doesn't get lost. In some cases, it's okay to not write the 1, but in this case, it's better to do so. All right, I'm gonna get you guys started with number 6. I have to run to the bathroom because I've been going all day. But let's look at number 6. Look at my numbers. I have 4 numbers. 42, 14, 7, and 70. What's my GCF? Rule of thumb is look at your smallest number.
7.
7. Does 7 go into all these numbers evenly?
Yeah.
Yep. So that's going to be my GCF. And look at your variables. X to the 8th, x to the 5th, x to the 4th, x to the 2nd. What's my GCF? X to the 2nd. So we look for the highest number that goes into everything and the lowest exponent. Because I can't put 8 x's into 2 x's, okay? All right, work on this. What do we have here? 7x squared. What's inside?
6 and
6x to the 6th. That's the first one.
Minus 2x up there. Plus x. Plus 10.
board off again. You guys have the next one? Are we understanding this? Eric? Gabe? If not, you have to speak up.
So when you dividing by like the x, like how do you get to like x squared?
I always take the sign in front. So we have -6 divided by -3, which is positive 2. You mean here?
Talking about like x, the power to
Oh, in the middle?
when it was like originally 3x to 4.
So we have 3x to the 4th over -3x squared. Alright, so this right here, 3 divided by -3 is just going to be -1, right? X4 divided by x to the 2nd, we subtract our exponent, so you get x to the 2nd. So that's how we got -x squared. If you had a 1 there, that's fine. Okay? So, we are ahead of schedule, good. I want you guys to work on 8 through 14 in the next, let's say 15 minutes, and then we'll go over all of them. But listen up, if you get stuck and you don't know where else to go, skip it, go to the next one. Don't stare at number 8 forever if you can't figure out what the GCF is. You know, you can plug those into your calculator. So I'm not used to like doing that. Alright, so number 8, my GCF is what? -9 y squared. I looked at my numbers for the -9. For the y squared, each piece has y squared in it. So therefore, that is a part of my GCF. So I bring that down. Then I just divide. -81 divided by -9. +9. My a stays. That becomes nothing. 63 divided by -9. -7. That goes away. My b stays. 72 divided by -9. Good. Is -8c. Alright, so number 9, Eric said, what if the GCF is just nothing? If we look at my numbers, I have 8, 6, and 9. Does anything go into that evenly?
No.
No. What about X, Y, and Z?
No.
So my GCF is just 1. If your GCF is just 1, your answer is prime. Because if you wrote it over, you would write 8x to the 4th minus 6y to the 4th minus 9z to the 4th. You would just be rewriting your whole answer. That means it is prime. Okay? Number 10. I have 12, 36, and 54. What is my GCF?
3.
Is it 3? Did you guys get 3? Looks right. 6 is 3 going to 54?
Oh wait.
6 does.
Yeah, it does. 5 plus 4 equals 9. 9 divided by 3. So What did you put down?
Put 6.
I believe the answer is 3. Oh wait, no it's not. 3 works, but it's not the greatest number. Does that make sense, Daniel?
Yeah.
So we have 6, 6, a little freaky, but 3 6s. Then I have a to the 4th, a to the 3rd, and a to the 4th. A to the 3rd, we use our smallest exponent. And then I have b to the 3rd, b to the 5th, b to the 4th. B to the 3rd is my smallest exponent. So we have 6a cubed, b cubed. Now let's divide. 12 divided by 6. Lauren, are you with me?
Yep.
12 divided by 6 is 2. What about a fourth divided by a third?
Okay.
Just a. My b's cancel out, right?
Right.
Alright. Then I have 36 divided by 6 is 6. My a's cancel out, so I have b to the 2nd left over. Lastly, I have negative 9 a b. That's my answer. Number 11. What's my GCF? 2x, right? Or 2x squared? So 2x squared, if I,
That's what you're put 1 right?
yeah, I would say I put 1 because if you,
I thought you were
I got
talking
the placeholder.
about if you place 2 and 1.
Oh no, sorry. So we have 1 minus 3x. The reason why I put that 1 there is because it's a placeholder. Yes, 2x squared divided by 2x squared is 1. It also, we could cancel it out, but if it's by itself, you leave the 1. If the 1 is to be multiplied to something else, then you don't need it. Alright. Number 12, we have 16, 80, and 100. Who found the GCF of this? What'd you do? What'd you do? You used the GCF thing? What were the numbers again?
16,
16 and 80. Let's see what we get. Alright, that's 16. And then you said 100.
yeah, I got 4.
4 is my lowest so far.
Which 4?
And then 80 and 100. Alright, so 4 is definitely the smallest, right? So I have 4, 4, 4. What about my y's? What's my GCF?
Y.
Just plain y. So we have 4y. And if I divide, I have 4y squared plus 20y minus 25. This is a 4. Number 13 is a red flag for me. It starts with a negative, so I know my GCF is at least going to have what? A negative. Then then I have 27, 18, and 3. What's my GCF? 3. And then I have x cubed, x squared, and x. So negative 3x is my GCF. If I divide, I should get 9x squared plus 6x plus 1. I leave my plus 1 because it is not, or because it's standing alone. If it was to be multiplied to something, I could just not even write it. And we have one more. Alright, it starts with a negative, red flag there. So look at my numbers, 2, 3, 23, and 12. Is there anything in common? No, that 23 just throws it all off. So does a 3.
-1.
So -1. Alright, can I also add x?
No,
No, why not?
because the 12 doesn't have an X.
Perfect. So my GCF is just -1. When your GCF is -1, you're basically going to rewrite exactly what you have. Oh, sorry, I don't want that color. You're going to rewrite what you have and just change all your signs. So instead of -2x cubed, I'm going to have positive 2x cubed plus 3x squared minus 23x minus 12. All I did was just flip all my signs. All good? You guys understand GCF? On your homework, before I let you go to lunch early, let me be clear on something, because I was just doing it, and I want you guys to make sure you're paying attention. Number 1 says 7x to the 5th, y to the 2nd, z to the 8th, divided by -14, x to the 5th, y to the 4th, and z. Everyone on your homework?
Yep.
Alright, so if I look at my numbers first, and I divide, what do I get? -1/2, right? I don't want you guys putting that 2 on top. It's -1/2. Alright? Then let's look at our x's. X to the 5th and x to the 5th. What happens to those? They just cancel out. Alright, then I have y to the 2nd divided by y to the 4th. Which one is bigger? Y to the 4th. So what's 4 minus 2? 2. So my y, I'm going to keep it on the bottom. Whichever one is bigger is where it goes. If you wanted to use a negative, you could go 2 minus 4, which is -2, but you can move that negative to the bottom anyway. Eric, pay attention to this. Lastly, we have z to the 8th divided by z. Which one is bigger? The top. So 8 minus 1?
7.
Z to the 7. So your answer is -1 z to the 7 over 2 y to the 2nd. Huh? That's your answer for number 1. Huh? Yeah, but I typically let you guys go around 58 or 48. Alright, your homework. Do the best you can. If you get stuck, skip it. Move on.
But we can go over that class.
We're going to go over it next class. Good job, guys.
Thank you.